you're in a weird place in life, you feel stuck, you feel uninspired, you feel like not getting out of bed every day, nothing feels worth it. What do? How do you find inspiration? Well, if you're a person that likes astrology, there are some places in the natal chart that you can look for inspiration, ideas, and strategies for unstucking yourself. Your first one is your North Node, which deals in life purpose. Your second one is your MC, which deals in life direction. The third one I would say is Mars, which deals with motivation. And the fourth one would be your Moon, which deals in what makes you feel satisfied, emotionally secure, and supported in this life. If you would like to learn more, keep watching. If that's all you need, thanks for hanging out. Go forth and prosper. My name is Katie. I create content that hopefully helps people to feel more inspired, more satisfied, and more activated in this life. We talk about a number of things from just life strategies, career strategies in general, to how to see these things in fun topics like astrology, which of course you don't need to be able to unstuck your life. But if that is what helps you, by George, we can do that. So if you're interested in content about how to live a more satisfying life, or how I have used tools to improve the quality of my life, then stick around, subscribe. Nice to meet you. Things that I would suggest that would make this video easier for you to apply. If you are newer to astrology, watch this, save this, and then go get you a beginner astrology book so that you can learn some basics and then come back and apply it. If you don't know anything about astrology beyond memes and your horoscope, you're gonna watch this and be like, now what do I do, right? And I try to respond to as many people as possible, but it's not super possible for me to teach beginner astrology to every single person who comments, because a lot of times when you go, what does my moon sign mean? That's beginner astrology. You can literally pick up any astro book that teaches the basics, that houses the signs and the planets, and they will tell you what that means. And that's just gonna help you. It's gonna clear up so much confusion if you just know what the signs mean, what the planets rule over. Great. I will link my list of beginner astrology books below that not books by me, but books that I find really helpful. Go read you a book. Go read you a book. I know the internet's supposed to give you an instant gratification fix. I'm so sorry that I'm not one of those people. Most strategies in this life that work, be it astrology, any school of thought, or going to college, whatever it is, it takes time, research, study, and application and practice for it to click, right? Cool. So get you a beginner astrology book. If you don't know what signs mean, like if you don't know what signs rule over, it might be a little tricky. If you are familiar with the general traits or associations of each sign, then you are probably in a good place. Also, if you'd like a little hack sheet, I have like a freebie sheet that you can download for joining my mailing list. But again, it's just a high level list. Every single sign rules no less than like 10,000 things. And so you're gonna have to be good at association to get from here to there, to how to apply it to yourself specifically, or you're just gonna have to sit down and read a book or take a course, but a lot of them are paid, right? And so the cheapest thing you can do is get you a $15 book that has so much knowledge in it, and refer to it as needed. That's always gonna be a thing with astrology. Astrology is never instantaneous. Like, people can tell you stuff instantly that makes you feel better, great, but when it comes to using the chart as a tool to get things done in life that you can continuously refer back to, you're gonna have to take the time to learn it. Okay, that said, we can dive in. So the first place we look is the North Node, which is a placement that has, or a point that has to do with what we call purpose and destiny. Since astrology actually isn't a religion or a spirituality, and there's nothing wrong with the people who adapted in that way, people who are like, spirit is saying this for the signs, good for them. But I want you to know that inherently Western astrology is not that. Western astrology is more, it's closer to a math than it is a spiritual thing, right? And so I context it that way because the North Node is one of the few things in Western astrology that does lend to the ideology of some kind of like spiritual belief, because it is said to be represent what you incarnated in this life to do, and it's based on the idea that reincarnation exists. Right, so that's kind of like concept, the concept, the mythology. I would say it's more accurate, or not more accurate, but to get back to the mathematical application of it, you could plainly state that the North Node represents situations that you see repeatedly in your life. And the spiritual overlay for people who are interested in that part of it is that if you are incarnated with a purpose in this life, you will continuously be drawn towards things that allow you to do your purpose. See, they can go together. But just plain and flat, North Node is what are the situations I encounter, and understanding what you feel drawn towards or where you continuously find yourself ending up can help you to start to understand why you end up in these situations, how to have more control over it, and how to make it work for you. For example, my North Node is in Sagittarius. That is the sage, the teacher, the person who transmutes situations into wisdom. When I was unaware, that led to a lot of codependent energy from other people. I felt drained all the time. I felt like people were using me all the time, that people would use me for good advice or to solve their problems and throw me away. When I realized what my North Node was, the sage, the teacher, then it positioned me, because I had awareness of, I can teach people stuff on like the internet, on the platform, or do consultations. I can help people in a way that makes me feel valuable. I can help people in a way that gives me structure, right? And so now it's not people are draining me, because also now that I know that that's a tendency, I know how to set clear boundaries. I know how to set clear rules for how people interact with me. And whenever I'm in this dark place, whenever life feels heavy, I go, okay, I am the sage. I am literally here. My literal talent that has been developed year after year throughout this life is to transmute situations into wisdom. And so it took me out of the place where I felt panicky all the time to now, when things get hard, I know I can create a solution. There's confidence there now that I know that that's in my natal chart, right? Cool, that's the North Node. Go find your North Node. First, just be really simple with it. If you're new to astrology, look at the sign, and then go to your Google search bar and Google this sign in North Node, and you will get something. You'll get a really good starting place. And if you want to go deeper, like I said, check out the books that I link below, right? And if you want to chat a bit about your North Node, put it below, but do know I can't give 20 interpretations in the comments, okay? See how I'm setting boundaries to keep myself from being drained by overwhelm? Your MC, which is popularly associated with your career life path, it can be. I would say, I think that's a modern adaptation of the MC, that the things that you want to accomplish in life naturally lend towards what career you might pursue. But do keep in mind that the MC being associated with the 10th house has to do more with status and authority, the way we build status and authority in this life, and the undertakings that we take on that we want to create accomplishment underneath, which again can turn into a career. But you can want to accomplish something and it not be your career. Like I don't know if you can see Zozo, but my plant Zozo is here, and I want to accomplish a bloom with her. I want her to be the biggest plant I ever have had ever. That's a goal of mine. That's a value of mine. That's an accomplishment I want to make. I don't want to be a professional gardener. And so that's another thing I always caution people. Your 10th house can show you, your 10th house, your MC can show you where you might feel naturally drawn towards accomplishing things, just like your North Node can show you the situations that you constantly run into. Because that's another thing. People are like, show me my North Node so I know what career to take. And I'm like, why? Your purpose, your natural skills and talent don't have to translate to a career. Your passions don't have to be a career, but that's a whole different tangent. People conflate the two because capitalism has taught you that. It's okay if you actually want them to be the same, but ask yourself, do I want my passion and my career to be the same thing? Or am I like, have I just ingested and internalized this from the people who benefit from me working for them for 40 years? And so they taught me that I should feel passion on the job because that will make me more inclined to work for them for 40 whole years of my life. Or is it possible that I can go to work and do work that is easy for me to do, that I'm competent at, and have joy and passion somewhere else in my life that does not have to be combined with my workplace? that kind of gives me the ick personally, but so be it, right? Because like I love singing, I love music, I do it professionally, but I don't like when people try to make me sing. I don't always like singing for money. I don't like, that's why my Patreon, it used to be for music. No, I don't want to write. I don't want to show you the things I've written just for money. I just want to write music. So I can monetize my passion if I would like to, but I don't necessarily want it always to be conflated with my ability to eat food and pay rent. So ask yourself that. And so think about that when you're using your natal chart. So your MC, it's like, this is what I feel a sense of ambition towards. That's it. And if you would like to create a career from that, great. But use that as a driving point to understand what motivates you, what gives you a sense of accomplishment. Because a lot of times when we start feeling depressed and down and sad, like nothing matters, it's because we feel like we're not making any gains or progressions in this life. And so it feels pointless. And so you can honestly just use your MC as a way to see, what structure can I create for myself that gives me a sense of accomplishment, gives me a feeling and a reason and a motivation to get out of bed in the morning? It can be that simple, babes. So then we're gonna move on down to Mars to look at how it impacts your relationship with taking initiative and motivation. So Mars is a lot of things. Mars is how we get things done. It's our aggression, it's our sexuality, it's the way we exert power over others. It's the way that we might encounter abuse at times. It's a lot of things, like most of the planets. But for our purposes, we want to look at the sign, and if you're more advanced, look at the house as well, the house and the sign that Mars is in, to understand how do we feel motivated. I'll give you an example. It's really easy. My Mars is in Gemini. Keyword for Gemini is what? Words and communication. Words are a great motivator for me, but not only that, Gemini is thoughts and intellect. And so reading books is a really good way for me to motivate myself. If I can find a book that talks about the topic that I want to know more about, or that is inspirational, it will click for me in a way that starts my fire more than anything, right? And so find the keyword for the sign that your Mars is in to understand what types of things or actions or what have you motivate you and light a fire under your booty when you are feeling down, okay? And if you are more advanced, you can also take a look at the house it's in. My Mars is also in my 4th house, the house of intimacy, close friends, and private thoughts and feelings. So again, it's like I feel the most motivated when I feel emotionally secure, emotionally supported, when I have people who are close to me, close friends, support, that type of thing. And so you can overlay the two. So you can either like, I'm gonna get me a book and I'm gonna get me a close friend, now I feel motivated. Or I'm gonna get encouraging words from a close friend and now I feel motivated. And so that's, you know what I mean? So you can just interpret the sign, but knowing what the house means as well goes a little deeper, okay? Mars, find your Mars. And then of course we have the moon, your moon representing popularly your feelings. It's not just your feelings, it's the way you process the world around you. And so if you can understand what motivates your moon, you can understand, one, the way you process information and experiences, and understanding that can help you to understand where you have biases, positive and negatives, where you have filters, where you might be filtering out positive or negative information as a way to become more objective to what's happening. For example, my moon is in Aquarius, which is a sign that has to do with reformation, change, being unique, progression, and groups. Right? And so my moon being in Aquarius means that a lot of times I'm processing information based on how it impacts large groups of people, which is why a lot of times when people get into conflict with me, it's because they want me to like see their individualistic side of stuff, but my natural bias is to see how does this impact everybody. So if somebody is like, I'm really hot, I'm more likely to find that invaluable if everybody here is feeling comfortable with the temperature. And I'm like, that doesn't matter because the group, you know what I mean? It's like, so that's my natural, it doesn't mean that's right or wrong, but once I'm aware that that is a natural bias of mine, because that's how I process information, I'm able to see things in a different light. But if we bring this back to how do you use this when you're feeling down, same thing. And so it's like, I might be feeling down because I'm processing information based on how I see the world around me, dealing with things, like most, if I go, everybody my age is married with kids and owns a house, I might feel depressed because I'm looking at these big pictures of what everybody is doing. And once I know that's just a bias in my processing, I can come back down. I'm like, oh, I don't have to compare myself to all of these people because I'm the person living my life. And I can go at my own pace, and I've always done things at my own pace, which is the other Aquarius things. Like, actually, I could stand to be more individualistic about how I'm measuring myself, right? And again, just like with Mars, you can layer in what house is your moon in. Mine is in the 12th of hidden things. And so again, it's kind of like, it's hard for me to understand my own feelings sometimes. So like, I process things very intellectually, and then a lot of times I'm emotionally detached. And so sometimes it's like, Katie, maybe you're not feeling because you're not allowing yourself to feel, right? And not only that, your moon can represent your attachment style and the types of intimacy that makes you feel loved and supported and like you have purpose in this world. And so with Aquarius having to do with being unique, I feel like I have purpose and I feel loved when people value me for what makes me different. I feel like I have purpose in this world and valued when I am doing something that creates positive change. That's the progression portion. You see what I mean? Like, you have a keyword and you have to connect it here. Progression can translate to making positive change. Look at your keywords and then connect the dots, baby. Make your little umbrella, your little spider webs for what could this mean. Association is key with astrological interpretation. But yeah, look at your moon to understand how you can better understand the way you process the world around you and your intimacy needs that you might not be aware of and that you might be able to check off if you knew that they existed. Astrology is a fabulous way to take a look at a map that reflects the experiences and feelings and tendencies that you possibly have, and to understand how they relate to you. Astrology is basically a giant journal prompt. Your chart isn't to tell you who you are, it is to help you facilitate the questions you have about life. Your chart and their meanings are based off years of experience, meaning that people influence the definition of placements, not the other way around. And so what is true to you defines your placement. So look at your natal chart map, take a look and ask some questions based on what you see. And that's what it starts with. You don't have to know, you don't have to instantly resonate, you don't have to instantly act. It's if I see that my MC or my North Node is in Sagittarius and the keywords is sage and wisdom and travel, maybe I don't know instantly how that impacts me or how I feel about it, but maybe once I journal and I ask myself, like, how do I feel when I get to travel? Or what are the ways that I transform situations into wisdom, right? Ask yourself these questions. A lot of astrology feels icky and surface level because we don't go deep enough. Memes are fun, vibe content is fun, horoscopes are fun, but if you want astrology to be a transformational tool, you have to move out of this place of this is just what's cute and what's funny, and sit down and ask yourself questions about the things you see in your chart. Don't just instantly reject or accept stuff. Go, how do I feel about this? How do my past experiences validate or invalidate this? Where have I seen this in my life and my actions and my thoughts, all of that. Astrology and interpreting your chart becomes easier and becomes more practical the more you study it to understand the various meanings of placements in your chart, but also the more you journal. Okay, all right, my babies, stay warm, stay loved, stay up, stay positive. Let me hear from you in the comments. What are your placements looking like? Again, I want you to be proactive and take charge of your own learning, but of course I want to chat with you in the comments. I would love that. Hello. So talk to me below. Tell me what your placements are. Check out my recommended reads in the description box, and I'll put also my newsletter opt-in that will send you like a little keyword thingamabob. I'll get you some resources in the comments is what I'm trying to say. But hang in there. I love you. Show up to each day the best you can. We got this, okay? And I'll see you in the next video.